Today we are going to be learning about point slope form, and our learning target is how do I write equations in point slope form. Review. Slope we can write as the change in y over the change in x. Rise over run. This one is most helpful when we're working from a graph. And our slope equation, which we worked with last class period, and we're going to work a lot more with this chapter. Slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. It's right there in the name, slope-intercept form. So with our next form, point slope form, we're going to have a point and a slope. So if we look at our equation, the slope is still m. M is still the slope. And your point, your coordinate point, which you need x and y for, come from y1 and x1. That's your point. Write an equation given a point and a slope. Well, that's what we need for point slope form. So write an equation in point slope form for a line that passes through 4, -3. That's your point, 4, -3. So that's your x1 and your y1. With a slope of 2. Slope of 2, that means m equals 2. So point slope form is y minus y1. Well, if we look over here, our y1 is -3, so we put that in the blank. Minus a -3 becomes a +3. Follow the equation along, equals m. Well, our m we know is 2 times the difference of x minus x1. Well, our x1 is 4. And that's all it is to writing an equation in point slope form. Let's do another example. Our point is 3, 5. So 3 is x1, 5 is y1, and m is -1. That's your slope. So let's write our equation. We fill in for y1, m, and x1. So y minus y1 is 5, right there, equals m, -1, times x minus x1, which is right here next to our y1. So it's 3 minus 3. Close the parentheses, and you wrote an equation in point slope form. Write an equation from a graph. Well, we want to write in point slope form. So what do we need? Well, it's right there in our form, right there. Point and a slope. We need a point and a slope. Now for slope, when we're working from a graph, we like to use rise over run. Rise over run. So if we look at our graph, we're rising between the 2 points. Make your slope triangle. We rise 1 and we run 2. If we look at our line, we're going up the mountain. So it is a positive slope. So we have a positive rise of 1 and a positive run of 2. So our slope is 1/2. So let's put that right there in for our slope. Slope is m, so we can put 1/2 where m needs to go in the equation. Now we just need a point. Well, we have 2 points on our graph. This point is at our origin, 0, 0. This point is at 2 for x. We went over to 2 here. And 1 on our y-axis. So that would be the point 2, 1. You can use either point to write your equation. Either one works. So I'm going to choose 2, 1. So 2 is my x1, 1 is my y1. So I put them in the blank. 2 for x1, 1 for y1, and that is my equation. Second example. Slope. First thing, that's what we need to find. Slope. Rise over run. So if we look, draw your slope triangle. We are rising 3, running 1. So our rise of 3, run of 1. We can simplify that to just 3, because 3 over 1 equals 3. That is your m. So m equals 3. So right there, as I'm setting up my equation, I'm going to put 3 where m is supposed to go. Second piece is a point. Again, we have 2 points on our graph. You can pick either point. For this point right here, it's sitting at 3 on our x-axis, 1 on our y-axis. We go over 3, up 1. For this point right here, we are at 2 on our x-axis and negative 2 on our y-axis. Either point works. I'm going to choose this point here. So 2 is my x1 and negative 2 is my y1. So as I fill in my equation, I need to leave the y minus. y1 is negative 2. That double negative becomes a positive. Multiply my slope by x minus x1, which is 2. And there's our equation in point slope form. One last example. Write an equation given 2 points. Write an equation given 2 points. So we want it in point slope form. So again, we need a point and a slope. So our first step here, calculate the slope. That's the first thing we want to do. So remember, when we're given 2 points, we have to use our slope formula right here. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, if we look at our points, 1, 2, 3, 6. We have x1, y1, x2, y2. Just get used to labeling your points right away. It makes for the process to be a lot easier and less mistakes to be made. So on the top, we subtract our y's. We do y2, 6, minus y1, 2. Then on the bottom of our fraction, we have to subtract our x's. Make sure you're doing y's on the top, x's on the bottom. We start with our x2, 3, minus x1, 1. 6 minus 2 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. Make sure you are reducing your fraction to the simplest form. 4 divided by 2. Remember, this fraction bar means divide. So if we can divide the numerator by the denominator, like we can with 4 divided by 2, then we get a whole number. So our slope is 2. So when we're writing our equation, y minus y1 equals m, my m is going to be right there, times x minus x1. I can set up my equation right now and put my slope in being 2. The next piece that we need, if we're in point slope form and we've done the slope, now we need the point. So that's second step. Choose your point. We were given 2 points to begin with. 1, 2, and 3, 6. Choose. You get choice. I'm going to choose 1, 2. 1, 2. So 1 is my x1. 2 is my y1. Y1 goes there, so we put 2. And x1 goes here, so I put 1. So our equation in point slope form is y minus 2 equals 2 times the difference of x and 1.